Hi everyone, this is Michelle Markey with Medina Domestic Art Studio, and this is the third and final uh, video that I'm going to do regarding this particular block. If you've seen part one, it talks about how I did the leaves. Part two actually talks about how I did the sky and the sky in the back. And this third part, I just want to discuss some of the tools that I used in creating the grass, the rocks, and the water. Um, Actually, I'm going to start with the rocks first. This was relatively easy, and I'm going to, pardon me, reach across here and grab out various different products because I really want to actually kind of promote these as tools that you may want to consider in the past. To get the rock and get kind of a brownish tinge to it, I used this Pro Chemical and Dye Earth Brown concentrate. Now, I love this stuff. It very, very little goes an extremely long way, which I'm going to pull over my paint pot here real quick and show you. That was just literally a tiny little scoop, and I've got more than what I can possibly use here. Yeah, I'm going to talk about this other stuff in a minute. And yes, if you're doing your art correctly, your palette will look this messy as well. Okay, the other thing that I did was I had already mixed up some of the black concentrate from, again, Pro Chemical and Dye, and I put it in this container. I used very, very sparingly here and here, and then what I ended up doing was mixing a great deal of fabric medium until I got kind of that very pale gray that I've used here. So those are two products right off the bat that I used. Now, let's talk about the grass next. The very first thing I did was I used this Jacquard metallic olive green for this deep background here in the back. Then what I did was I took Arteza lime green, Arteza forest green, and last but not least, I can't pronounce that. You can see the name of it. I'm going to let you be the judge of how to pronounce that correctly. I've heard it before, but I can't recall right off the top of my head. Okay, so what I did was I put a little bit, oh my God. Okay. Quick recovery here. And everybody, I do want you to see this because this can and will happen to your work. And if I had to put it someplace, that's probably as good a place as any for it to spill. Now, how many times have you heard, oh, you need to try to do creative challenges with any kind of mistake that you make like that? So here's what I'm going to do, and I'm really actually kind of glad this happens because this never really happens in person. So here you have it on video and what I'm going to do to take care of this. So obviously I've got this big brown blotch here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and put other big brown blotches in here as well. And I got really lucky. This was a total fluke. I didn't plan that. Hopefully you all realize that what I was doing was just trying to show you something and I fumbled. So now I'm coming in with the rest of that brown after I sopped up as much as I could and just putting it throughout, because after all, leaves do eventually turn brown. So voila, there you go. Now that is a complete, perfect example of creative opportunity. So there you have it. Now you don't have to repeat that if you don't want, but at least that goes to show you what you can do with it. All right, we'll move forward. So anyway, I put the greens right here and I put the olive green here, and then I used various different mixtures to get various tonalities. You want it deeper in the background because as you look away from something, it appears darker than as it does as you move forward. Now, there's a bunch of these little plants in here. I didn't even bother to try to cover them. I'm going to let the background color speak for itself. What you could do is you could come in with some fabric markers after the fact, after this is all dry, and you can come in and maybe go over the trunks of the trees, and maybe you could put in some darker green, or if you wanted this to be maybe, again, fall colors, you can come in and use some browns and golds and whatever. I plan to just leave it like this. Last but not least, I want to discuss the water. And I've done this with several of my landscape works, and I'm very happy with it. You know, you want to distinguish the sky from the water. And the way that I do that is I typically like to choose acrylic paints. In this case, these are Prisma pours. They're from Color Art. Let me get that so you can see that. There you go. I use a lot of this company's products. This is super metallic paints that are typically used for hard surfaces, but I have found that if you take them and blend them with 2 parts the paint to 1 part fabric medium, it goes on here really good. And what I did, and I'm just going to show you, fortunately, an empty container. I put the blue in one side and the aqua in the other. And what I did was I first painted the blue on, and then I went back over it with the aqua. So there you have it. There's a couple of different types of tools that I have not shown before, but products that I think are worth mentioning. Also, a couple of the techniques. If you would like to see this pattern as well as others, or if you would like to see additional information on coloring on fabric, you can go to www.medina, that's MEDINA, DOM, DOMARTS.com, Medina Domestic Art Studio website, which is medinadomarts.com. Anyway, thanks for watching and good luck. Please don't make a mistake, but if you do, that's how you can correct it.